Hello and welcome back to EclipseClan. This week we are picking up where we left off. So Shortburn has one claw hold off of leadership, especially following the loss of her mate Hocus Pocus. And she's still recovering with a broken bone. And she's also grief-stricken at the loss of her mate. Due to all of this, she passed a new rule saying that everyone's failures are not going to be held against them in any way. And so the cats are free to patrol as they please. And seemingly there's no restrictions for that. So we're going to go ahead and continue and see where that leads us. Okay, so moving into Moon 65, the current season is Leaf Bear. Ring Creek can't hardly believe how quickly time has passed since Dandelion Paw was a kid. It still feels like just yesterday that they were tumbling around the nursery, chasing after a mossball or some other cat's tail. Misty-eyed with pride and joy, Ring Creek throws her head back and tries to cheer the loudest as Dandelion Paw is named Dandelion Echo in honor for cleverness. Claw Splinter picks himself up out of their nest, begins the day anew, a fresh conviction in their heart. Shortburn tells himself they can't let these feelings consume them, instead they have to learn to live with it. Shortburn has healed from their broken bone. Sky Meadow picks himself out of their nest and begins the day anew, a fresh conviction in their heart. Sky Meadow helped to strengthen the camp walls, but scraped up their paw pads in the process. Cougar Speckle picks himself up out of their nest, begins the day anew, a fresh conviction in their heart. Sacred Runner's tail was badly injured by a fox. Cleft Apple has recovered from green cough, but Condor Fern has gotten yellow cough. Flaxknight is no longer bruised, but Flaxknight does slowly do their morning stretches, remembering Rushreed's promise that it'll help with their pain in the joints. Sky Meadow is seen touching noses with the rogue, Scandalous. Jagged Acorn considers as they look out over the clan if perhaps this isn't where they belong. So it seems that Shortburn has recovered from her various ailments affecting her. And it seems that Sky Meadow may also be in slightly better mood as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go through some of our cats here. And we're going to proceed. Shortburn is wondering if they could hold apprentice ceremonies at 4 moons old instead. Be really interesting if you could do that and force your cats to go out earlier than they should be able to. Claw Splinter is still hurt with a broken bone. Here's Dandelion Echo. They turned out to be vengeful but a great mediator. Mentored by Rain Creek, who influenced them to be more likely to adapt easily, use words over teeth and claws, and be cold towards others. Rain Creek did help them become better at resolving arguments. A little contradictory there. When they graduated, they were honored for their cleverness. So here's Skunk Paw. Skunk Paw is hurt with head damage. This is what Skunk Paw looks like healthy. Here's Runnel Paw, also grown up now. Vengeful, avid play fighter. And then Freeze Paw and Shy Paw are both sick with white cough. In the dark winter night, Shortburn calls the clan together. They have seen her walking around with seemingly more strength in her legs. Of course, she still has a twisted leg, but her broken bone seems to have healed. She stretches, flexing her claws, and seems no less active despite her long tenure unwell non-bed rest. She looks out at the clan with bright eyes, with no hint of the insanity that drove her towards Dust Tingle while they were both stuck in the medicine cat den, injured and sick. The clan looks up at her, a little bit unnerved, simply because they aren't sure what's going to happen now. She promised leniency during the ender parts of her being unwell and after Hocus Pocus's death. And they don't really know if this is some new streak of compassion that's going to stay, if it's going to be revoked, or what else could possibly happen. Shortburn nods to Sky Meadow, who disappears into the medicine cat den, and is seen dragging out Flax Knight by their bow, I suppose. Sky Meadow stands over the sick and injured cat, and at Shortburn's simple nod, drives his fangs deep into Flax Knight's throat, ending things quickly. The clan, shocked, reels from this sudden show of complete violence. Shortburn twitches her tail to her followers, indicating them to come forward. And Sky Meadow, McAster, the sick Nunball, Condor Fern, Claw Splinter, a little bit more towards the back, all set forward. Condor Fern stands beside her mate, Cloverpelt, who helps to prop her up. There is hate in all of their eyes, and the clan looks on in horror as Sky Meadow tosses Flax Knight out into the cold. Shortburn says that she's been watching the entire clan closely and can no longer ignore the small whisperings of betrayal and talk of overthrowing her that so many of the clans seem to be having at the forefront of their mind before she said something as weak as all of their talk would be forgiven, all of their mistakes would not be counted. Of course they would be counted. The clan cannot tolerate weaklings. And she is convinced now that the dogs that have affected her and her mate were all set as a plot against her, a sneaky plot to overthrow her, but one that she was strong enough to overcome single-clawed. The cats all look at one another with suspicion and fear. They don't know if there's going to be another cat that stands before them that will suddenly attack, and their way out is blocked. Shortburn laughs at their foolishness, saying that if the clan could not produce strength in times of weakness, and the clan was weak. And she would like to trim the fat now. With that, she suddenly leaps at Rushreed, pinning her down. Rushreed, as a medicine cat, only knows how to treat wounds, and Shortburn, despite her many injuries, is also older and more experienced than Rushreed, especially when it comes to this. Shortburn hisses in Rushreed's ear that she knows that everything will be over now that Rushreed will be gone, before she takes Rushreed's life too. The clan looks on doubly in horror now that one of their medicine cats is gone. Shortburn stands over Rushreed and proclaims that this was simply putting Rushreed where she finally belonged, as Hocus Pocus was unwell and Rushreed chose not to help him. The clan looks at one another in confusion, horror, and suspicion, as they believe that Rushreed, as a medicine cat, had done everything she could for all members of the clan, including Hocus Pocus. Cougar Speckle, however, is a little bit suspicious, as she saw that Rushreed did not mourn her mentor's loss, and Rushreed has seemingly been refusing to treat certain cats in the clan. Why couldn't Hocus Pocus have been one? Due to Hocus Pocus's stature in the clan, Cougar Speckle left much of his care to Rushreed, the more experienced medicine cat. Was that a mistake now? She's not really sure. She slowly pouts forward and bows her head to Shortburn. She is followed by a few other cats who are hasty to show their loyalty to the leader. The mediators, Pondflame and Jagged Acorn, step forward. Rain Creek and Danger Dave soon follow. Cliffed Apple hastily trips over their own paws to step forward. Gravelarge hesitantly follows. Midgeacorn, tail still held high, strides forward, confident that they will be safe from whatever rage is taking over Shortburn. Well, maybe rage isn't a good word for it. Shortburn seems now more confident and lucid than ever before. And if she's that confident in her doings, then maybe she's not entirely wrong. Sorry if you can hear the cats. They are running around the zoomies right now. Barleytooth is also hesitantly coming forward, whisperings of dark doings in his ear. The other younger members of the clan all set forth various levels of hesitancy or eagerness, but none of them catch Shortburn's eye. Instead, she jumps down, and she singles out one of the older, more well-loved members of the clan, Danger Dave. Danger Dave, being the kitty pet that he is, has not really proven himself to the clan. He has very consistently failed on patrols, struggled to raise his own apprentices, and was quick to avoid danger. Shortburn tells Danger Dave that he has one chance to prove himself by fighting her son Sky Meadow in Champion. Danger Dave is charismatic, an unusually strong fighter and fast runner. He is competent in his experience. Sky Meadow, meanwhile, is strict, very clever with the natural senses, and is also competent in his experience. But Sky Meadow is younger than Danger Dave, even if not by too much. Danger Dave tries to stride forward and soothes Shortburn with easy words, but Shortburn twitches her ear, hissing at him, saying simply that his choice is to die at her claws now, or to try and prove his worth in a bout. She's seen his strength in the past, thinks that it could be very well suited for the clan, but she's done with disappointment. Danger Dave, seeing that reasoning with her isn't going to work, agrees to fight Sky Meadow, who steps forward, a little bit limping on his cracked pads from the renovations that he was doing earlier. Danger Dave sees this and quickly strikes out at Sky Meadow, who, being clever that he is, rolls out of the way. He seems to be able to know what Danger Dave is planning to do even before Danger Dave does it. Danger Dave's blows are powerful and very quick, but Sky Meadow just seems to be able to predict him and is one step ahead of him every single time. Danger Dave thinks that he has proven himself after a little while and stands panting before Sky Meadow, stating that his blows are powerful and he cannot best anyone with blood as strong as Shortburn's flowing through his body. Shortburn does not take in the flattery and simply gives a little tail twitch to Sky Meadow, encouraging for him forward to end it. Danger Dave rushes out of the way, seeing now that the tides are turning, and tries to break forward through Shortburn's masses to escape out into the night, knowing that his life is about over. They all descend upon him, however, and he is not able to hold off that many cats before he too is taken down. Rosywood and Quivermoth, upon seeing the death of their parent, are shocked and cry out. Rosywood is already injured and knows exactly what fate she'll be met with as she tries to bite with tooth and claw, and instead, without her parents' charisma, shrinks down to the shadows, hoping to go unnoticed. Quivermoth, however, is childish and steps forward, trying to help out her parent, and she also falls before the clan's claws. Gravelarge sees everything that is happening and actually does join in the fray on the side of Shortburn. She's nervous and has extremely strong fighting tendencies, and she fears that Shortburn is going to turn her wrath upon her next and She is actually sympathetic to Shortburn's side. The clan has been weaker, it has been growing, and she has been seeing an uptick of cats that don't necessarily hold the clan's values. She uses her unusual strength on Shortburn's side and also is one of the cats that helps to take down Danger Dave and Quivermoth. She thinks that her eagerness will help her in maintaining a strong position within the clan. Dustingle sees everything that is happening and with her compassionate nature steps forward, unable to witness another cat being killed in such a horrible manner. She pleads with Shortburn to change her mind. If Shortburn could forgive her, then surely she could forgive some of the other cats. Shortburn simply smirks and says of course she hasn't forgiven Dustingle. Dustingle is a sympathetic, useless coward. Why would she have a place within the clan? And she points a claw at Dustingle. Gravelarch, one of the first to try and prove herself, leaps at Dustingle, and the two she-cats get into a vicious fight. They're pretty evenly matched, but in terms of experience, but Gravelarch is a very strong fighter. But Dustingle is fighting for her life here, and not just status. Shortburn, however, has no qualms about playing fair, and Sky Meadow soon joins the fray, with the two cats quickly overpowering Dustingle. Sky Meadow is the one to deal the final blow. Shortburn looks at the blood-splattered clearing, seeming to be a little bit more satisfied with the cats that stand before her. But there is one other example she wants to make. Calling forward Sky Meadow, who nervously steps forward at this particular summons, she orders him to fight a cat that was seen being sympathetic towards a kitty pet, one outside the clan, and one that she still believes to be weaker than her own, even with McAster standing there. Sky Meadow looks out over the group, trying to find one of the cowering cats amongst them. Barleytooth hears the whispers of the dark forest rising and senses that blood is about to be spilled. He does not realize until it's too late that it's his own, and Sky Meadow pins him, ending things quickly before Barleytooth even recognizes what's happening. Barleytooth wakes in the dark forest. Shortburn continues to say kitty pet weakness will not be tolerated amongst the clan. Any others seen being sympathetic towards this particular group will meet Barleytooth's fate. Dandelion Echo, Skunk Paw, and Runnel Paw all watch the bloodshed happen with various degrees of approval, almost, with the sick light lighting in their eyes. Shard Deer and Bertrip, however, are very nervous and don't approve of everything that's happening. Rain Creek looks on nervously, hoping for the best for her kits, but Bertrip is the first to break, and he pelts for the entrance, trying to make it out. He, too, is relatively inexperienced, but since some of Shortburn's supporters are still injured, he manages to claw up Claw Splinter pretty good as he tries to make his way out. Enraged at this harm to her mate, Shortburn summons Cloverpelt, who sneaks out of the dark shadows with her black pelt and cuts off Bertrip before he can make his final escape out into the wilderness beyond. Shardir does not trust that he can make that sort of run successfully, and hesitated too long in the wake of Bertrip's chaos, and hesitantly stays, not confident that he can make it out himself. Sega Runner, being the old, experienced cat that he is, and with the nervous trait that he has, sees this bloodshed happening, and he is actually surprised that Shortburn is backing up some of her bark with a true bite. He is experienced enough that he feels pretty confident in his ability to hold his own if his own treachery was discovered. But for now, he actually seems to have gotten away with things. Shortburn seemed to take his word wholeheartedly over that of Dust Tangle, and the experienced cat escapes her notice, which is good because with his injury, he couldn't make use of his speed, and he would be much more at the risk of Shortburn's wrath. Shortburn looks out over her clan, shaking and terrified, or covered in blood and standing strong. She looks at the cats that are terrified by this and says, "This is your only warning. Any failures now moving forward will be met with tooth and claw. If you fail, you may as well not come back at all. However, for the loyal warriors, we will still treat your injuries and your sickness. Injuries and sickness will no longer count against you in any capacity. However, any failures will automatically exclude you from the clan. And if you think about touching me or my own, you may as well throw yourself off the cliff to the river's wrath, for it will be much kinder than I will be to you." And with that, she disappears into her den, looking back over her shoulder once to Sky Meadow to say, "Organize the patrols," and then she's gone. The clan, whether supportive or fearful of her, clean up the mess that is a clearing, bury those that are gone, and are forced to go about their day-to-day life as if nothing else has happened. The clan will never be the same, but they will respect Shortburn, or fear her, at least a little bit more strongly. And with that, we'll go ahead and go into patrols, and we'll probably wrap things up after that, just given how eventful the moon this has been. Sky Meadow takes Minkpaw out, and they have a good hunting session. While out training together, Runnelpaw starts an argument with McAster about the technique they're working on. Social things like this won't count as a failure, by the way. It's only if they come back without a successful catch, or having been beaten by a border patrol. Something like that would count as a failure. McAster has taken valuable time out of their day to personally help Runnelpaw with their studies, and this is completely juvenile behavior. McAster isn't shy about telling Runnelpaw so, and by the time they're back in camp, the apprentice is cowed but respectful. Similarly, finding herbs isn't necessarily going to be held against any medicine cats. A, because we only have one medicine cat now. And B, just because I think Shortburn is a bit more aware that finding herbs is hard because they can just be dead or gone or eaten or any number of things that could prevent a medicine cat from, being successful in coming back. But if Cougar Speckle continues to prove herself, is successfully treating the clan, that's the main thing there. So, medicine cats, mediators, roles like that are pretty much exempt. Again, it's just hunting and border patrols that are really going to be facing her wrath. Shortburn does take a patrol out of Dandelion, Echo, and Cliff Apple, eager to prove her strength. It starts snowing soon after the patrol sets out, trying to bring back anything for the fresh kill pile. Despite the snow, the patrol manages to hunt successfully, finding mice under leaf litter. It's only a couple, but that's enough to count as a success, and Shortburn leads them home. The patrol discusses rumors they've been hearing that there's a badger denning in a certain part of EclipseClan territory. Carefully considering their options, Gravel Arch decides to set up a stakeout with the patrol. When the badger pokes its head above ground dusk, they're prepared. In unison, everyone turns for home. Okay. Well, Shortburn's fears definitely seems to have worked, as that was pretty much completely set of success for the clan. I am going to use mediators to improve her confidence in those that she is strong with. And I think we'll go ahead and leave things off there. Shortburn is definitely rising a little bit more. Trying to find a good strength in her paw hold on the clan, and the clan, at least for the most part, seems to be eager to follow her once again. Now, since Sega Runner escaped her notice, there is definitely a chance that something else happened, but Sega Runner is getting up there in age as well, so it's kind of hard to say whether or not she's going to continue to have opposition or whether she's going to have successfully kicked it out with this. And sure, she'll get some other cats that will oppose her leadership, but for now, I think that she's feeling pretty good about herself. I do think I'm going to move Dustingle to Starkmane at least while I'm thinking about it. Same with Birtrip, since they never really did anything one way or the other. I think I'll have Danger Dave in as well. We'll keep Barleytooth here just because of his affinity for the Dark Forest. I feel like that's fitting. If there's any other cats that need to make their way up, or you think need to make their way up, just let me know. Otherwise, I suppose I'll stay there. But until next time, I hope you enjoyed this one. Until then, stay safe, and bye!